like there's more, but you don't want to raise your hands. Who else the first time? Who else? You're the first time in this company, so you're good. You're good. No, but do a good card. Go on. I feel like there's some more people that's first time here. No? Maybe? Possibly? No? She's sitting up here like on board already. Can you just like hurry up and get over this? Alright, so if you can, before the service is over, please fill out the card and turn it back into us. I need one of the service leaders in the back. We just want to connect with you. They're not. They will come back because they love you. And if they don't come back to me, that they don't love me. Where do you live? That's not bad. You can try. Whatever, it's up to you if you don't so far. But want to just connect with you after we can come back to check in and be assistant. Alright, who here has enjoyed their summer break? It's over, so get over it. You got one more week. You got 1 week to get over. Well, actually, you got 2 weeks. August 10th, right? Who the heck makes y'all go back to school on a Friday? That's messed up. Like, your first day back to school is a Friday. That's so wrong. Alright, so. Alright, let me get your attention. Let me get y'all's attention. Alright, so. Today we're starting to do some gum with you We're working on it. Praise Alright, so eyes on me, 1, 2, 3. We're going to go ahead and start the sermon. Today we're talking about a guy named Samson. Okay, so I'll give you a good background. We're starting a new series. Grow, do you even? That's what this series is going to be called. Today, the big idea is, do you even listen? Alright? Do you even listen? So let's go ahead and pray. And Father God, I thank you for this wonderful day. I thank you for every single person that is in this room. I pray that you bless them for coming out today. Touch their hearts and strengthen them. Lord, help move me out of the way. Let my words not be mine, but your words, let your glory be brought today, Jesus. Amen. Alright, so, do you even listen? God puts people in our lives every day and throughout our lives to help us navigate through tough situations. But it's not much good if we don't actually listen to them. Who here has ever had somebody close to them in their life try to give them good advice and they're like, you don't even listen to them. Sometimes it's like because you think they're a crackhead and they're crazy, so you don't want to take their advice. And then sometimes it's just you just being hard-headed and stubborn. But there's a lot of ways of potential in that, right? A lot of ways of potential. Who here wants to be somebody who had great potential and they wasted it? Who here wants to have a great talent and you don't ever want to use it, you just want to throw it away? Nobody, right? If you have a really good talent, something that you do, you want to use that talent. You want to use it right? How many of you have ever known somebody that had great potential? Whether it has been somebody that had athletic ability, somebody that was really smart, family, friend, or just somebody famous that you know that had great potential and they threw it all away. Really? Right. That's it. Y'all never see these pro athletes that make it to the professional athletes and then they go to jail after a year because they're doing something stupid? Whatever.
Boy!
I don't know about you, but I've known some multiple people or seen some multiple people. Hey, boys. I don't know about y'all, but I've seen a lot of people that have had really great potential and they threw it all away and they just wasted it. They could have done something great with their life, but they didn't utilize it right. So, like I said, today we're going to talk about somebody that had a lot of great potential and they didn't listen. And they didn't listen to their parents. They didn't follow godly advice, and they threw it all away. And his name is Samson. Right? He comes out of the book of Judges, and Samson was, see if I can get this out right. Samson was a testosterone-ridden, impulsive meathead on a road race. All right? So, dude is like Mr. Bubbs that can like bench press a car and nothing anything about it. All right? That was Samson. Dude was super strong, was super talented, and was super cool, or at least he was supposed to be. His parents were never able to have children. His mother was married. Until one day, something just changed. All right? One day, they didn't go to the doctor, they didn't go to the clinic, they didn't go to the hospital and get some surgery done or whatever. No, an angel showed up and actually told them twice, showed up on 2 different occasions, and said, you're going to have a kid. And this is what he's going to be. How many of y'all know throughout the Bible how many times that's ever happened? In the Bible. Somebody showed up, throw a number. An angel showed up and said, you're going to have a kid. How many times has that ever happened in the Bible? Yes. 3, 2, 1, 3, no. Somebody said 4? 4. It only happens 4 times in the entire Bible that an angel shows up and says, you're going to have a kid. So that means that Samson must have been pretty daggone important, because one of those 4 times was Jesus. So dude is like super important. And this is back in the book of Judges. So he was to be a leader of Israel. He was to be the leader of Israel to that point in time when he was alive. So dude had a special calling on his life. All right? So, God had big plans for him, right? Not only did God choose to bring Samson into the world into a very special way by an angel coming and telling his parents, he was uniquely gifted after he was born. Like I said, he was the strongest and probably the best warrior that ever lived in Israel, that was ever a Jew, ever born. Strongest and most talented warrior ever born, all right? So, moving forward, how many of y'all have ever ignored something your parents told you to do? Whether it was good advice, bad advice, you told you to do or told not to do, and you just did not follow their advice. Boy, I know you, come on, you too missed back to a family's car into the mailbox or something. I'm going to call you out. Yeah, we all have, right? I absolutely have. You ever heard don't run with scissors? Yeah. How about don't run with a knife because you might cut your sister's finger off on them? Yeah. Yeah, dude, that was me. That was me. Don't run with scissors. I didn't learn. There was a phone ringing, and I really wanted to answer it. So did my sister, and I reached for the phone with the knife in my hand. Really cut my sister's finger off. Don't run with scissors. Take the parents' advice and listen, all right? So, but when it came to listening, Samson was no different from us, all right? And this caused him to have a long track record of falling deeper and deeper into sin. Hector's coming to join us. He's just lollygagging to his little stuff. All right. So, we're going to pick up in Samson's life when he's a young adult, all right? So Samson goes down, and we're going to start reading. Samson goes, if you have your Bible, who has a Bible? You got a physical Bible, who's your Bible? You got a Bible? Pull it out. Start reading it. Start reading it. If it's on your phone, pull it out on your phone. I don't care. But if I catch you doing something else on your phone besides reading the Bible in here, I'm going to throw it against the wall. I'm praying. I won't do that. I'll get fired, and then I'll have to fight on your phones, and my wife will kill me. Alright, but Judges 14, 1 through 3, alright? Samson went down to Timnah and saw there a young Philistine woman. When he returned, he said to his father and mother, I have seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife. Hold up. Dude's telling his dad what to do. How many of y'all would get slapped across the face if y'all came up to your dad and said, hey dad, go do this for me right now? Bro, I'd be standing right in front of you right now with missing teeth if I did that to my daddy. He would beat me, and then it'd be bad. So, dude tells him, now get her for me as a wife. His father and mother replied, isn't there an acceptable woman among your relatives or among all your people? You must go to the uncircumcised Philistines to get a wife. Question. But Samson said to his father, get her for me. She's the right one for me. The dude bosses his dad around twice, all right? Just like straight up disrespectful. So this seems simple enough though, right? Samson is a great warrior. He can get any girl that he wants. But the girl that he wants is actually from a nation that has constantly been at war with Israel. It's constantly been killing and slaughtering his own people. And there are actually, at this point in time, the Philistines are ruling over and oppressing the Israelites. So he is actually leaving his people and wanting to go marry somebody that has been killing his relatives. Pretty much. That's what he's wanting to do. It's and here's the kicker. The Bible doesn't even tell us that Samson ever even talked to the girl. He just said he saw her. That's it. So, and when you actually translate what he told his parents from back into Hebrew, he basically told them, yo, girl's hot. Like, she's sexy. I want to marry her. Straight up. Like she's pretty, she got it going on. I want to marry her. That's basically what he told them. So, how many of y'all think you could go marry either a man or a woman just by looking at them? Never talk to them. Yeah. They hot. They got it going on. But you never even talk to them. You don't even know their name. How many of y'all can go marry that person? Yeah, think twice. No, you can't. No, he put his hand down because he thought about it for a second. It was definitely. I couldn't either. But apparently, Samson could. I don't know why, but apparently he could. So, what were his parents trying to do? They were trying to help him. At that point in time, God had given a law stating that they could not marry outside of the Israelite nation. If they were not Israelites, if they did not believe and worship the God, Jehovah, they were not allowed to marry them. Multiple reasons. One would be because they would start sinning and following their God, and God knew all that. But Samson not only ignored his parents' guidance, he disrespected his parents, but he also ignored God's law. And that's not a very good thing to do. So Samson, picking back up in verse 5 and 6. Samson went down to Timnah together with his parents and mother. As they approached the vineyards of Timnah, suddenly, God gives you a glimpse into who was Samson. Suddenly, a young lion came roaring towards him. The spirit of war came powerfully upon him so that he tore the lion apart with his bare hands as he might have torn a young goat. Dude, like, straight up beast moded that lion and just ripped it apart with his fingers. Just killed him. And I have no idea what it means to tear a young goat, and I don't know. Kind of weird, but dude just like beast modes this lion. Pretty awesome. So, but picking up from right there, I want to show you all a pattern in Samson's life. What he does is he lets Satan into his life through small sins. One little small sin, another little small sin, and he just continues to let him in. And he starts a pattern in his life through doing this. We all might think, and he obviously did, they're no big deal, that maybe not listening to your parents or disrespecting them is normal. It's just what a normal American kid does. Maybe that's what you think. These almost seem like minor issues, but more and more of those sins that we allow into our life from Satan, they grow into something big and out of control into your lives. And you're going to see what happens when Samson does that. So, I'm going to start rolling through this. Wake up. Keep up with me. It's a pretty big deal. I want you to see what God's going to do. What Satan will do in your life if you do the same thing. If you start allowing Satan to get into your life with little sins. So, Samson goes back home, and then we're picking up, he's coming back to his wife. He's actually coming back to have the wedding ceremony. And on his way back, he crosses paths with the dead lion that he had already killed. And apparently some bees had made a beehive inside of his dead carcass, and he goes and he takes some honey from the beehive and he eats it. Now, what you don't realize is Samson was a Levite, which came with rules. And as a Levite, that means that you were set apart, that you were holy for God. All right, you served him. And with that came rules. You could not drink or touch alcohol. You couldn't even touch grapes. All right, you couldn't touch anything to do with grapes. You could not touch anything dead, and you could never cut your hair. Those are the 3 rules to be a Levite. No alcohol, can't even touch it. Don't touch anything dead, and don't cut your hair. Now, what does he have? What has he just done? He's just touched something dead. No big deal. It's just I want some honey. It's good. It's food. You know, God said that He's bringing us into a land flowing with milk and honey. Just a little bit of sin, right? Nothing big. But he breaks his vow and his promise to God. All right. Then, when he gets there, Samson throws a big party, which was the custom for back then, except for really not the custom for his family, for his religion. And it lasted for 7 days. All right, and that can be translated into a 7-day cake party in today's terms. I'm being serious. So what does that mean? Remember his vow with God. He can't even touch alcohol. And here he is drinking and partying for a week straight. All right? So one little sin leads to another, which actually leads to a little bit bigger. And at this party, he gambles and makes a bet. A little bit of gamble, a little bit of bet. Hey man, I bet you $5. No big deal. The dude makes a bet worth around $20,000 in today's terms. All right? Like 20 grand. All right? And then he loses the bet. And the bet was that if they didn't figure out a riddle, they had to give him a fine linen, clothing, and stuff. Basically, it translates into a fine suit for a man today. And he bet 30 dudes. All right? So that means he now has to give them 30 suits. All right? Bro didn't have the money. How does he pay his bet? He goes and finds 30 random dudes and he murders them. And takes their clothes. So not only has he now committed murder, he has now touched 30 more dead bodies in order to take their clothes from them and pay off his debt. All right? Later on, he goes back to get his wife. He's gone home. I guess he settled some things at home, got his house ready. All right, I'm ready to be home. And I'm going to bring my baby home. We're going to go. But he goes back to pick her up. And however, when he gets there, he finds out that her father gave his wife away. Gave Samson's wife away to get this, Samson's best man. It was the best man at Samson's wedding. And he's like, I thought you'd want her, so I gave her away. That's like pretty daggone dirty. I don't know about y'all, but like I'd be pissed. So, in revenge, Samson goes and he catches 300 foxes. Now he catches 300 foxes. I don't know. It must have taken him quite some time. You see the spiral effect? It's getting worse. Sins are getting worse, more frequent. He's catching 300 foxes, and what he does is he ties them at the tail in pairs. He takes 2 foxes, ties them together at their tail, and then he ties a torch to their tail. He lights the torches, and he sets them loose into the Philistines' crops and vineyards himself, destroying all their crops and all their vineyards, and burning and torturing to death 300 foxes. So now he has murdered 30 blokes, he's touched 30 dead guys, he touched a dead lion, and he's murdered, slaughtered 30 foxes for no reason. Not like he's killing the 300 foxes to feed people, he's killing 300 foxes to kill them. And by doing so, he has ruined all of their food. He's ruined their livelihood, he's taken away their food, their money, all that stuff, out of spite. That doesn't sound very godly to me. So, in revenge for what he just did, the Philistines find out that he did it, and they murder his former wife now, and her family. So, they've like taken it up another step, so dude's like, I'm gonna like wipe the earth of you people. And he goes on a killing rampage that translates into, one section of the Bible says, tore into them, ripping them limb from limb. A huge slaughter. So he goes and kills an unknown, and doesn't even tell us how many people he killed. But he slaughters an unknown amount of people with his bare hands. That's like, seriously? Like I said, testosterone, roid rage, and so now he's murdered at least 30, he's murdered over 30 people, probably over 100 people by now, with his bare hands. And it says that he tore them limb from limb. That he didn't just like shoot them and leave them there, he like ripped their limbs off. Alright? Again, you see the progression of his sins getting worse and worse. So, because of this, it has caused a lot of strife for his own people, because the Philistines are oppressing his people right now. So, 3,000, I think it was 3,000, a large number of his own people come capture him. And he lets them because they're not going to hurt him. They're like, we're just going to turn you over to the Philistines and make life hard for us. So what they do is they bind his hands and ropes. And the Philistines send over 1,000 men, 1,000 soldiers to do nothing but arrest Samson. He rips the rope, the ropes fall off of him like they've been burned to ashes. And he picks up a freshly dead jawbone of the donkey, and he slaughters 1,000 soldiers with nothing but a jawbone. So that means that they sent over 1,000 people to do nothing but arrest one man. And this one man doesn't have a shield, he doesn't have armor, he doesn't have a spear or a sword. He has a jawbone of a donkey and kills 1,000 of them. That's like serious. Just goes straight Rambo on them, alright? So what does he do? He uses sin, which was touching another dead thing, to sin even worse. His small sin of touching something dead, which was preceded by not listening to his parents and taking out their advice, has now turned into murdering over 1,000 people with his own two hands. Later in his life, Samson is seen sleeping with prostitutes. And he's the leader of Israel. This is 20 years later. So that means we have 20 years of God knows what he's been doing sin-wise, because it's not even recorded in the Bible. They leave us at murdering over 1,000 people and pick back up with sleeping with prostitutes. And they're Philistine prostitutes. At one point, they even almost catch him, and to get away, he sneaks out at midnight and rips the gates of the city wall down and carries them away on his shoulder. He pulls the columns of the city gates and the doors up out of the ground, puts them on his shoulder, and walks out. That's how much of a road is going, all right? Nope. All right, so he's sleeping with prostitutes, and he actually becomes so prideful and so confident and has so much faith in himself and not in God that he actually even tells a Philistine woman who has been bribed to find out his secret, what the secret of his strength is, which is his hair. His hair has never been cut. And if his hair were to be cut, he would become as strong as a normal person. And that would be it. And he knows that. But yet here he is with a Philistine woman telling her this. She then goes and tells some Philistine dudes what the secret was. They pay her. And then he actually falls asleep with his head on her lap. He's that confident in himself. He's just given her the secret of his strength. That is the only way that he is still alive. And what she does is she has guys waiting in the room. As soon as he falls asleep, she brings him in. They cut his hair. And then she wakes him up. Hey, the Philistines are here. They're going to get you. And this has happened already. This has happened 4 times now. Because what he did was he played a game with it. She said, tell me what the secret of your strength is so that somebody can bind you up. She actually says, what? What's the secret of your strength? And if you were to lose it, somebody can bind you up. And she does this 3 times. To the point where every single time it happens, it's obvious homegirl is trying to get you. And he knows it. He can see it. It's obvious. But he tells her anyway. He's that prideful. And what they do is they come and they capture him because the Spirit of God has left him, is what the Bible says. So that means that the only reason he had that strength was because God was with him. And now God has left him because he has sinned so much. He has had to hand him over to the enemy, which is handing him over to Satan. And what they do is they come and they gouge out his eyes. When they gouge out his eyes, they take a scorching hot old rod and they stick it in your eye socket. They burn your eyes out. And then they take a spoon and scoop out what's left. That's what they do to him. And then they put him as a slave, grinding meat and stuff for people. And they put him on show and they mock him and all kinds of stuff. How did he get to this point? How did Samson get from being predicted by an angel to be born, blessed by God to lead his people to be the strongest man probably ever in existence of mankind. How did he get from there to where he is now?
Sin.
Little sins. One little sin, not listening to his parents, lusting after a woman, disrespecting his parents, not listening to God's will. One little sin at a time has now got him to the point where his eyes have been gouged out and he's a slave. All these things would have been avoided if Samson had just listened to his parents. Every little sin led to bigger sins, and eventually would lead to his death. Samson would die being put on show for thousands of people in this big building, and he begged God for one more time to give him the strength back so that he could avenge him for his eyes by pushing these two columns over which would collapse the building. God does. But even in death, Samson's reason for wanting God's blessing back was to avenge him for his eyes. He's still thinking about himself. He's still prideful, not wanting to serve God, not loving him, but wanting to get revenge for something they did to him when he put himself in that position. That is where sin, one small sin after another, led him. The same thing happens to us when we allow sin into our life, one little sin at a time. We become blinded. And I believe that's why that's why God allowed him to become blinded like that. The more that we allow sin into our lives, one little bit at a time, the more blind that we become to it. The further away that we get from Jesus. And you know what I'm talking about. It's that sin that you know that you have in your life that you know shouldn't be there. It's that boyfriend that you have that you shouldn't have. It's that girlfriend that you hang out with that you shouldn't hang out with. It's that stuff that you're doing in your room that you shouldn't be doing in your lifestyle. Whether somebody knows about it or not, you know about it. And you know that you should be doing it. You know that you've known for a while that you've got to get rid of it. And we don't. We all do it. I do it as well. We all have that sin in our life that either somebody knows about or somebody doesn't know about, and we know we need to get rid of it. So do you even listen? Do you even listen? God puts people in our lives to help us navigate through tough situations. But it's not much good having them around if we don't ever even listen to them. Samson didn't have a discussion with his parents of, see, I understand what you're saying, but I see it differently. He just completely disregarded their instruction. He just completely disregarded their wisdom and disrespected them. All because he didn't feel like listening. All because he didn't feel like listening to them. I imagine that if I asked each of you in here today, you would say that there are times when you have gotten yourself in the most trouble that you've been in, and it was at the time when you disregarded godly advice or guidance, whether it be from your parents, your pastors, your friends, whatever it might have been. So what would happen the next time you disagree with your parents and you actually listen to them? You actually pay them the respect that God has called each of us to pay them. You know, the Bible says to respect your mother and father so that it will give you long life. By respecting your father and mother, God is going to bless you with health and let you live a long, prosperous life. But what is the opposite of that? What is the opposite of health and long life? By disrespecting your parents. It's not long life, it's short life. It's sickness, probably hardship, all because we disrespect our parents. God makes it very clear. So what if the next time you and your parents are arguing, and I know what you're probably going to say, you're probably going to say,